The cold emptiness of space stretched beyond the viewports of the starship Palladium, with only the distant flicker of alien stars dotting the vast void. On the ship's medical bay, the soft hum of the equipment was interrupted by the occasional beeping of monitors. At the center of the room, under a delicate blue light, sat a lone figure. She was alone, a woman of alien descent with skin the shade of twilight and hair that shimmered like the surface of a distant moon. But there was one thing that set her apart from the others. She was blind. Her name was Valera, an exiled member of the proud Zoraine race. Her blindness was not a condition. It was a curse, one bestowed upon her by her own people. A tragic accident had stolen her sight years ago, and with it, her connection to the very species she was born to. They had deemed her weak, a failure, and no longer fit to live among them. Now, abandoned and alone, Valera wandered the universe, desperately clinging to the hope of a life beyond the rejection of her kind. But fate, as always, had other plans. Main story. Valera had heard the hum of the Palladium's engines countless times since she'd boarded. A solitary traveler for so long, the sound of the ship had become a strange comfort to her, like the heartbeat of an old friend. But tonight, there was something different about it, something in the air. The ship was going to dock at a station called Golem's Reach, a deep space colony known for its interspecies collaboration and cutting-edge technology. As the ship began to decelerate, Valera found herself strangely tense. She had no destination, no family, nothing but the dark void to face. "Valera," came the soft voice of the ship's AI, a soothing feminine tone. "We've arrived at Golem's Reach. Would you like me to prepare a transport for you?" She sighed, her heart a heavy stone in her chest. "No, I'll find my own way. Thank you." The ship AI's soft beeping echoed through the bay as the docking clamps locked into place. Valera rose slowly, using the cane that she had come to rely on. It was a simple device, crafted from materials that were smooth but firm. It was her guide in this world of darkness, and as she walked through the quiet halls of the ship, the emptiness seemed to mirror the hollowness inside her. Yet she never once let her emotions slip through. She couldn't afford to. The moment Valera stepped off the transport shuttle, the chill of the station hit her. The air smelled sterile, a mix of ozone and mechanical oil. She paused for a moment, listening. The station's sounds were far different from those of the Palladium. Clanging metal, the chatter of voices in various languages, the soft swish of boots on cold metal floors. "Excuse me." A voice broke through her reverie, a man's voice, warm and inviting. "Are you lost?" Valera paused. She had been told to be wary of humans. Her people had warned her about their kind, especially the way they viewed outsiders like her. But this voice wasn't filled with the typical skepticism she had grown accustomed to. It was genuine. She turned towards the sound of the voice, raising her head in his direction. "I'm fine," she replied softly, her fingers gripping her cane tightly. "I know my way." "I don't think so," the man continued, his tone light but insistent. "You're about as lost as I am, if I'm being honest. How about I help you get settled?" She hesitated. There was something in his voice, an openness that was foreign to her. "Why would you help me?" she asked, the question coming out more blunt than she intended. He laughed, the sound like a refreshing breeze. "Maybe because I don't like seeing people struggle alone. And honestly, I think you could use some company." Reluctantly, Valera allowed herself to be led by the man, whose name she learned was David. As he guided her through the busy corridors, he told her about the station, how it was a hub for research and the arts, a place where cultures from all over the galaxy came together. His words were warm and soothing, and though she couldn't see him, she found herself feeling strangely comforted. Over the next few days, David and Valera spent more time together. He would take her on walks around the station, guiding her through the bustling markets, the floating gardens, and even the quieter, less traveled areas where no one else dared to venture. Slowly, she began to trust him, allowing herself to experience the world around her in ways she had not since the accident. One evening, as they sat on a bench overlooking the station's artificial lake, Valera asked, "David, why do you stay here? Why not return to Earth, where people can see you?" David shifted, his expression a mixture of sadness and determination. I used to have a life on Earth, but then I lost someone close to me. And ever since, I've been searching for a way to make sense of everything. This station, this place, it's the closest thing I have to a home now. Valera felt a pang of understanding in her chest. She knew what it felt like to lose everything, to have no place left to go. I'm sorry, she whispered. David's smile was soft, the kind of smile that didn't demand anything but offered solace. I'm here now, Valera, and that's what matters. As days passed, David's kindness began to chip away at the walls Valera had built around herself. She found herself laughing at his jokes, her heart warming with each conversation. But even as they grew closer, there was a part of her that still felt distant, a part that didn't believe she deserved such kindness. And then, one day, David asked her a question that took her by surprise. Valera, I've been thinking, he said, his voice tinged with uncertainty. What if I could help you see again? The words hung in the air between them. She turned her head slightly, as though searching for an answer in the stars above. I don't understand, David explained, his voice filled with excitement. There's a new technology here on the station, something that could help you. It's an experimental procedure, a neural restoration process that might be able to restore your sight. It's never been tried on someone of your species, but I've seen it work on other kinds of blindness. Maybe it could work for you too. Valera's heart skipped a beat. The thought of seeing again, of witnessing the universe with her own eyes after all these years of darkness, was both exhilarating and terrifying. Could she really trust him? Could she trust anyone again? What if it doesn't work? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. What if I end up worse than I am now? David reached out, gently placing a hand on hers. Then we'll deal with it together. But I believe in you, Valera. I believe you deserve this chance. Her mind raced. She had spent so many years trying to shut out the world, to survive in the silence of her blindness. But now, standing before David, she felt a spark of hope, something she hadn't felt in a long time. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to consider the possibility of a future where she wasn't alone, a future where she could see again. The procedure was long and grueling, but when it was finally done, Valera found herself in a small, dark room, waiting for the effects to take hold. Her body felt heavy, the weight of fear pressing against her chest. David was by her side, his presence a quiet reassurance. And then, as the world around her began to shift, as the blurry shapes and colors began to focus, Valera gasped. Light, color, detail. Her heart raced in disbelief as the world exploded before her